Hello and welcome back. We are now discussing Chapter 8, Building Pay Structures that Recognize Employee Contributions. It's essential that we have an appropriate pay scale selected for every position within our company. We want our employees to be valued, we want them to have longevity with our organization, and most importantly, we want to have an attractable wage so that we can draw folks into our organization when they're first hired. So this chapter takes a look at the different types of pay structures and pay grades that are available to an organization. You have probably worked in different types of industries and organizations that either work with merit pay systems, with base salaries, compensation packages. There are different types of wage structures that organizations can offer, and it really depends on the industry, the number of employees that you have, the industry scale that you might have to choose from with regards to the number of folks that you have can recruit. Maybe it has to deal with the geography in the area, if there are other positions available down the road, different things to keep in mind when we are assigning pay structures and pay scales to a different position. So there are different things that we learn about in this chapter. The first is we have to define what is the concept of a pay structure. Well, the pay structure deals with three base things. It deals with an employee's credentials, knowledge, and job performance. These are three elements that we want to make sure are reflected in employees' pay scale. So if we take a minimum wage job, for example, if you have someone that goes to work in a fast food industry, probably don't need many credentials. Their knowledge in the subject matter doesn't have to be very large. And their job performance can be somewhat satisfactory. We don't have a lot of high markers for them to hit. So we would pay the minimum wage and we have a larger audience to draw from. As we move up within our organization, then we might be looking at managerial, supervisorial, or executive level positions, and we would expect the pay to be increasing with the amount of credentials that we would require, the job knowledge, job skill that are available, and then we expect more from job performance. So we want that to be relevant to the pay for the position as well. There are 5 things that we keep in mind when putting together a pay structure. The first being, how are we going to put this pay structure together? How are we going to construct it? Determine the market pay line, define the pay grades, calculate the pay ranges, and then finally evaluate our results. And the chapter does an excellent job. We have some PowerPoints I want you to print off and be going through as we're going throughout the chapters. And that breaks down all of the 5 different elements when we are selecting a pay structure for organization, looking at different types of elements of the job. Is this an exempt position, non-exempt? Usually we discussed prior that exempt means that you have managerial or supervisory employees that we don't want to be calculating and paying them all of the overtime wages. Non-exempt would be much more of our frontline staff. Is that something that we would want in a teaching profession, for electricians, engineers, hospital workers? What is appropriate in our area? What is appropriate for the industry? And then we want to make sure we link the two. If we fly a position for a executive secretary and we're paying the minimum wage, we would expect a larger pool of candidates that probably don't have as much experience and knowledge and skill as if we are flying the position as a top-level executive secretary, 5 years experience, requiring certain words per minute, must have a bachelor's degree. Then we're really narrowing our pool, but we are expecting a higher pay range for some higher skilled workers. Things to keep in mind. As the textbook goes along, it talks about merit pay systems. We spend a little bit more time on this in another chapter, but merit pay is the concept that we are giving our employees additional contributions, additional benefits when they are meeting certain criteria in the workplace. Merit pay is an excellent way to really motivate our employees, that you can give them bonuses, bonus structures depending upon how many widgets they make, how many hours they put into the organization. If they complete a project, then we can tack on extra compensation with merit pay. Of course, we also want to keep in mind the different types of plans. The chapter highlights sales compensation plans. So as we're putting together a compensation package, keep in mind that this is really a marketing tool. So when we are recruiting for employees or recruiting for potential employees, for applicants, we want to have something to offer them. And once these employees become part of our organization, we want to have a strong compensation package that we can utilize to keep them. We want our employees to be vested and valued in our organization, and we want to be able to increase their pay, increase their bonuses as they receive more time with us and increase their knowledge and skills. So different types of compensation packages that we can look at. Outsourcing versus in-house training. That's highlighted towards the end of the chapter. Different ways that we can train our employees, give them the skills that they need to either move horizontally, vertically within an organization, keeping in mind that we want them to be with us for the 30, 40 years and retire with a gold watch. Read through this chapter, make sure that you do your burning questions. Let me know how you're doing. Take your weekly quiz. You're doing great.